Good morning. It is day number 14. It's starting off to be a nice day. I'm headed into Calgary. An oil change, hopefully. Haven't been able to contact anybody. It's a little after 8. So I'm just going to start heading there and then try to reach them around 9 and see which one is willing to give me a quick oil change. Then I'm going to head, at least for today, across Canada, heading east. At some point I'm going to dip down into the States. So I begin my long journey back home. I haven't quite exactly decided my route, even once I'm in the States. That morning sunshine, that mountain, it's very pretty. A few clouds covering it, but it's gorgeous. So it's time to say goodbye to Banff. Last few views of the mountains. Well, day 14 starts off with a glorious start. It was cool last night at camp, but it wasn't cold, unlike the prior night. So very comfortable sleeping, and it was fairly quiet. That is how I will remember the national parks here in Western Canada. Bye to the Canadian Rockies, and back out on the plains. That says it all. The mountains are behind me. Calgary, be part of the energy. It is 12:30 and I have left Calgary. Spent the morning getting to the repair shop and then waiting for the oil to get changed. The owner of the repair shop was kind of a crusty old guy, and he was almost ticked off that I didn't want to have a new filter put on. But I didn't want to get into an argument with him. I just told him that's what I wanted, was just changing the oil, which is what the Suzuki spec is. Suzuki only requires a filter change every third oil change, and an oil change every 3,500 miles. So I'm headed towards Medicine Hat right now, which I stayed at on the way heading west. Weather's really nice, no wind, so it's enjoyable. I am in farmer's country again, raising cattle, endless horizon, big sky. Even with those gigantic farming machines, they look small in the landscape. How far that goes out, it's crazy. Back in Medicine Hat, the gas city. It's interesting, you're right on the Great Plains there, and then you get off into this city, and it is treed and actually quite nice. I am back here at Gas City Campground run by the town, the Medicine Hat. Same spot I was in last time. I talked to the park manager, who was very apologetic about my getting rained on last time by his sprinkler system, but he assures me that they've adjusted it and I shouldn't get wet in my new spot over there. I did some seeding and filling in up some of the low spots, as you can see from the last time I was here. But anyway, I told him, it's not a big deal. I just want to make sure that if I'm staying here again, I know where to camp so I don't end up with a wet tent. So hopefully it works. It's really warm here. It's like in the low 80s, so it's the warmest it's been for me in well over a week. All right, what do we have for dinner here? We have pork chop, bell cheese, cheese bagel, broccoli and cauliflower with cheese, banana, Crisque's tea, and one of the 2 donuts for dessert. The other one's going to be for breakfast. It's good eating in my book. Day 15 begins. Nice campsite. Didn't rain on me last night in the sprinkler system, which is good. Nice and quiet. So I'm going to continue my way east today. I'm not sure how far I'm going to get. I picked out some variety of campgrounds based on how much distance I can make. So I'm just going to make it go as far as I can. Cut across the rest of Alberta into Saskatchewan and continue my way east. Day 15 begins. We'll be heading into whatever sun there is today. It's supposed to be rain this morning, but we never got it. And then the rest of the day looks like it should be okay. That campground is kind of hard to beat. $17.75 Canadian. Nice clean facilities, everything was quiet. This town of Medicine Hat is a very nice community here. I think I have a full day today of Great Plains and a part of tomorrow. I'm approaching the Alberta-Saskatchewan border. There's a storm over there to my right. Can't quite tell where this road is going relative to that. So it's goodbye to Alberta with the great Canadian Rockies. The siren song for me. Into Saskatchewan. Land of living skies. I just filled up with fuel, and the fellow told me that biker coming the other way was running through rain, and I just looked on the radar. Sure enough, there's rain up ahead. Doesn't look too bad though. I'm going to put some gear on and get through it, and should be okay on the other side of it. It's 3:31 in the afternoon, although I'm crossing into Manitoba where I think I'm going to lose an hour. I have ridden almost 450 miles, went all the way across Saskatchewan. Rained off and on throughout the day, which was a pain. And then finally cleared up. I mean, relatively clear. It's quit raining, and then the wind's picked up. So I've been beaten around by the wind for the last hour or so. But in any event, that's goodbye to Saskatchewan. It's a tough journey across it, that's for sure. And hello to Manitoba. Getting closer to getting off the Great Plains. I figure tomorrow, if everything goes well and the winds calm down tonight, so I can make a passage tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be out of it. That's my hope, at least. I was going to stay at Elkhorn. There's a campground here, $20 a night Canadian. It was okay. There's another one further up the road by 20 minutes that gets very good reviews. So I'm going to try. I think I'm going to try that. I did buy groceries. The pickings were kind of slim, but at least I'll have something to eat. Arrived at the Virden Lions Club Park, which has a football team practicing right on the other side. I'm sure that won't go on for very long. Okay, goodbye to the Virden Lions Club campsite. It rained last night, but it's supposed to be good for the rest of the day, so here we go, hopefully down into Minnesota. So it's welcome to day 16. It's a Thursday, so I'm going to head further east on 1, and at some point I'm going to get off, I believe before Winnipeg, and start to head my way more south and east to get down into Minnesota, where there's a state park that I'm hoping to stay at tonight. But at least for a while, it's back on Trans-Canada Highway 1, headed east. I pulled over in Brandon, Manitoba to use up the rest of my Canadian currency for gas, and the tenant said, "Oh, we just got a huge rainstorm coming through here." So I looked on the weather radar, and sure enough, the rain that must have hit me earlier this morning at camp was passing through here and heading towards Winnipeg. So I grabbed a picnic bench outside the restaurant that they had there and sat there for half an hour, and hopefully Winnipeg's still 193 kilometers away. Hopefully the weather keeps ahead of me. It's supposed to clear Winnipeg by noon, It's 10:36 right now, so I think I should be okay. I didn't want to run into the backside of the storm, have to put all my gear on. The route is taking me, and I asked him whether I could head south from Brandon, which would have let me gain some ground to the south, and then I could head east once the storm's cleared. But he said the roads, other than this Highway 1, were pretty bad, and that he had a couple buddies that were riding on it on their motorcycles, and one of them actually got into an accident because the road was in such tough shape. So he suggested that I stick with Route 1 to make my way to Winnipeg. I still have 370 kilometers to go, so not quite as long a day as yesterday, which was over 460 miles. It was a long day yesterday, but at least I got through most of the Great Plains. The winds right now are out of the west, so they're behind me. Oh cool, 64. I actually put my electric jacket on to the heat, and have my handlebar warmers on, so I'm nice and toasty. Either my strategy paid off on waiting for half hour, 45 minutes for the rain and weather system to move on, or I just got lucky. So far the weather's been great. No rain. My GPS was going to take me right through the heart of Winnipeg before it put me on 75 south. And there's a bypass that goes around Winnipeg on the southerly route, still headed east. This Highway 100. So I jumped on that, thinking it would be much faster, and sure enough, it shaved 13 minutes off the GPS time. I'm not sure why the GPS would have sent me on a suboptimal route. Alright, I'm getting off the bypass. 75 south. Smells like the country or plants. Smells like a farm. This definitely feels like Kansas. It feels like nobody out here. In the last 7-8 minutes, haven't seen anybody. I am running out of Canadian pavement. So I'm going to shut the camera down now, cross the U.S. border here in a few minutes, and see you on the other side. I am now in Minnesota, back in the United States of America. It was a quiet crossing here on 59. Had to wait a minute or two for the red light to turn green. But there was nobody in front of me, nobody behind me. I had a nice chat with the border agent. Still a long way to go. I am coming up on 42,000 miles too on this bike. Let's see where we are on the trip. 4,542 miles. I've gone almost 260 miles since this morning. Lake Bronson State Park. Picked up groceries on the way here. It's a nice little grocery store. They were closing the grocery store early on Friday for a football game for the high school, so that was kind of cool. They only have 6 seniors graduating from high school this season. A few people here, but mostly empty. It's nice. A very pretty spot indeed. They even have grass for my tent. Good evening. It's the evening of day 16. It's a Thursday evening, and it's going on almost 6 o'clock. I'm going to head over and see if I can find the observation tower that I saw on the campground map and see what that shows. It's getting late in the day, so the sun's going to be low. There's a deer there. You can see him in the shadow or not. He's standing half on the path. I bet this was built by the WPA back during the Depression. That's what the top deck looks like. Sure enough, this was built by WPA, early 1930s, during the Great Depression. So the tower is actually at one time both a water tower and an observation tower. Height is 44 feet, observation deck's 30 feet, and the water tank capacity was 5,234 gallons. It was constructed in 1939. There's a few people here, but not many.